I think that a lot of the problems that Black sisterhood is facing today comes as the result of broken relationships between mothers and their daughters. Now, this is not my area of professional training and development in order to make a well rounded statement like that, but it is my lived experience. And I know for me personally, as Black women become more frustrated with what is happening in our country and in times that are waging political warfare against us so violently, as they always have, but to see this cycle rebirth itself in this generation, there's a realization that Black women need to start to rebuild trust in sisterhood. And I think that that is something that cannot be done until we get vulnerable and get real with the experiences of Black mothers that have failed the concept of motherhood. As a womb wellness practitioner and a woman who is fourth generation neglected by her mother on both sides, paternal and maternal, of my family, I am the apex of breaking curses and destroying uh, patterns and ideologies of this concept that has become an illness in our community. It currently, right now, is November 15th, 2024, and it's a full moon in Taurus. And I am in a position in my life to make a decision to release myself. And my sister and I, my blood sister and I, got into an argument so bad that I realized this relationship has concluded itself. Not another prayer can save it, not any fasting, not me opening the portal and me being the one to be hurt again and say why or create reasonings and explore and exploit my boundaries can save this relationship. And I thought about why that is. A few months ago, my Nana passed away. And it's interesting how in life she was my caregiver in the beginning and I became hers at the end. And I realized that even though she wasn't my birth mother, I no longer have a mother. And my grief counselor said something to me that really struck me very, very hard. She said to me, you know, from the sounds of it, you've never stopped grieving. I'm getting ready to tell you what she was talking about. She said, for 25 years, the inner child in you has been grieving the loss of a mother. And you could always run to your Nana and she would take care of it. But now that she has passed, you are now responsible for mothering your inner child into the adult woman that the adult woman needs to be mothered as. 25 years ago, I'm 37 years old. I grew up in the church, and both of my parents they were spiritually matriculated or philosophically matriculated through the Black Pentecostal Evangelistic Church. And so growing up in a holiness or hell environment, especially in the 90s, where a lot of Black men who were in the church identified a lot of their character by the strength that has taken on, presented a few issues within my family dynamic. But 25 years ago, my mother made a decision to release herself as my mother. She decided to undergo court proceedings and not tell anyone on my father's side, and the only people that knew were her side of the family. One night we were driving from the Bronx into Mount Vernon, New York, from my grandmother's house during visitation, and we had a pleasant conversation, I thought, in the car. I was 12 years old. And we get into the house, and I see duffel bags and I see suitcases. And I asked my mother what's going on, what's happening, and she said, I'm giving you what you always wanted. I'm sending you to live with your father. I said, you're lying. Now, to give some backstory, my parents were going through a very vilified, hellified court proceeding. It was nasty. And I think that, as a older woman, I can say my father definitely used custody battle as a pawn in his game to weaken my mother. I can definitely say that. But also at the same time, my mother was in a same gender loving relationship with one of the pastors in our church. And so I think that that was too much heat for their relationship, these court proceedings, and it was just a bunch of things I don't know. But she sent me away with two duffel bags, two laundry bags, and a $100 check. But before she did that, I went into the room that my sister and I shared, and because I thought she was lying, like, why are you sending me? I don't want to go. My father is abusive. I don't want to go. And I walk into the room, and this is something I wouldn't find out until I was 28 years old. But I walk into the room, and the bunk bed that my sister and I shared, it was deconstructed, dismantled, and a new twin bed was in there with new furniture, and my pictures were removed from the room. The walls were repainted, and the furnishings were just as if there was an only child ever. And that night, from Mount Vernon into the White Plains projects, um, I asked my sister if she knew about it, and she said no. We clasped hands, and I said, I'm not going anywhere. My mother's lover, who had never really spoken to me in this way, said, if you don't get out of my car, I'm going to drag your ass out. And all of my belongings dragged through the project pissy halls and elevator and cracked glass, and the doorbell rang, and I became the property of my father, um, who would then, his second wife would soon develop a substance abuse lifestyle, and that became my life. Now, 25 years later, there are many things that I have experienced as a black woman, right? Broken relationships, as you can imagine, broken friendships, the desire to want to be a mother, but being afraid to be one because what if I just cannot love this thing, this human, this soul that I birthed, and I give up and I fail and I say I don't want you anymore. My grandmothers and great grandmothers, they were orphaned by their mothers either by childbirth, um, or just from working excessively. And here I am, the first of each of these line of women to actually be given away. And this is important for me to share this story because I have a burden in my heart for black sisterhood. I want to see black women be united. I want to see black women heal. I want to see black women love each other. And I honestly want to be free from this burden of what did I do? Because for 25 years, my subconscious identity has been that of what did I do? As you can imagine, in intimate relationships, I would be ghosted. I carried this identity of brokenness and motherless daughter for sale and victimhood. There's a lot of things that I went through, addictions that I myself would pick up, and really, it was just drinking, overly drinking, especially at a young age, uh, and overeating, but really self deprecation, discrediting myself, not putting myself out there, taking the back seat to life. And what Spirit is leading me to know is that there's an opportunity here. So last night, I made a decision that seemed a little weird to me, but I never confronted my mother. Um, Her family never acted as if nothing had ever happened. In my teenage years, my mother ignored me. Mind you, I don't know why. I don't know the definitive reason why this has happened, or that have been my path in life. But I wasn't a promiscuous child. I wasn't an at-risk youth, cussing everybody out, acting all any type of way. That's just not how I was developed or cultured. Um, so that wasn't it. I dealt with depression very heavily. I think because of these court proceedings, and at the same time, I was being sexually abused by, how that goes. So I made a decision last night after a very strong week of seeing and feeling this pain from this argument my sister and I had, which I can be grateful for because it triggered and served as the catalyst in me making a decision to close my mother wound. And I realized that me trying to keep a relationship open with my sister, in part, and I'll be honest with you, as a professional undertaking, I serve the black community of women. And so part of my mind is like, let me try to fix this relationship, because to me, I'm the type of person that likes to have my actions, my life, my words all, be one straight spectrum. And how does it look like I'm serving black sisterhood and my relationship with my only sister is damaged? If it's me, let's fix it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I just don't believe in the duality and the double mindedness of a double life. That's just something I don't agree with, right? There was that aspect, but then I just thought that maybe I could connect with my mom in some type of way. But then I realized that they have a relationship. Me and my mom still don't. And when I hear them on the phone laughing, talking about their day, because if I'm near my sister, I'll overhear. If you know what I mean, my mind reflects back. They have memories. My mother took opportunities away from me, created opportunities for my sister. They have a relationship, something that I don't have access to. And if me trying to breach myself by maintaining a broken relationship with my sister to get to my mother is burdening me, then I have to close both of them. And so I made a decision. I think mutually my sister and I agreed that we will no longer be in relationship. But I made a decision to close my relationship with my mother because I'm tired of having a broken identity, a broken story. I have been looping and ruminating this emotional trauma for 25 years. They've never spoken about it. No one will address my response or request for a response into just knowing, like, what was it? What happened? And I think that over the time, there have been times where I've been on media, the radio and television, and then everyone was proud of me. But if I wasn't on media, then they went back to not knowing me. And I didn't like my heart being open to seeing them monopolize opportunities that I worked hard for when everyone ignored me. And so if you're asking or wondering what is the importance of this video? Because I don't believe in just talking. My goal is to heal or be an aspect of healing in this new generation of black women that are going to up level society, I believe, in a very astronomical way. But the only way that we can do that is to continue to be vulnerable about our truths. I see a lot of young girls today who have good mothers, and really a Facebook video kind of sparked this as well. And I see young girls with good mothers, and mothers who want to have relationships with them. And to me, that doesn't sit right in my heart. Do you know how much some of us wish that we could have those opportunities? I know of women personally whose mothers have, and even my own clients whose mothers have sold them for drugs or for the pleasure of their partners, or who were taken away from their mothers because the their mothers had alcohol problems and they became physically abusive. And there's a lot of us walking around mad at each other, angry at each other, taking our frustration and our hurt and our silent trauma that is still berating us from that of our mothers and our aunties and older women in our family, and we are using it as a source of affliction in our community. To be honest, I don't know why life designed it to be that some of us could have this pathway. And there have been many times where I found myself clinging on to either a boyfriend or even a girlfriend, I'll be honest with you, mother, or a mentor, and I just would become so engulfed in trying to separate, okay, this is just a mentor, this is not your mother, and I would have this internal conflict that I don't find a lot of people talking about this. And I think that the strategy of the spirit of the earth, right, the spirit of the divine feminine, is calling for women to reclaim their power by also restoring their pain so that they can close it and seal it. And so maybe this is a story that, can resonate with you and you're not sure what to do. I'm not going to tell you to do what I did, which is to make a decision to end my relationship with my mother for sure, as in no sporadic communication. Please don't ask about how I'm doing. I don't, we have nothing in common. I have feelings for you, but I can't say that as love. Maybe that may not be your approach. Maybe you do need to do work and do collective work with your mother, and maybe you all can have a mended relationship where you can heal and blossom and flourish together. But no matter what you do, right? Because I know that you have experienced anger. I know you have caused many things in your life to be imbalanced, and you have become the source of your own destruction because you have not had maternal guidance or maternal voice to nurture you into safety in certain life decisions. What I will say though is that you should always hold space for your mother. That was the biggest challenge that I've had to learn in my shadow work experience, is that I don't understand why you did what you did. I don't understand who you are or how you operate. But I'm going to light this candle and I'm going to say this prayer. And I'm going to ask that as my ancestors heal me and my ancestors bring me to a point of power where I don't have to return to that broken little girl anymore, that you feel the strength, that you feel the source and the impulses of the work that I'm doing on our behalf. Black sisterhood is a very important dynamic in this life. And it is the force of the black woman. And even though this isn't a race-centered conversation, black women are a gift to life. And we need the support of each other in order to carry on when we are restless and are in need of rest. And if we do not link up and share our heart in the exposure of what we've gone through and say we want to move forward, I'm afraid that there will be no more black sisterhood. So sis, I need you to heal because I need you. I love you. Talk to you later.